House Homeland Security, Congressman Katko, along with Defense Priorities Senior Fellow, military expert. He is retired Lieutenant Colonel Daniel Davis. First, let's look at this. Russia's assault on Kyiv intensifying. Stunning and disturbing video. A man in Ukraine captures on camera a Russian missile strike in real time. Also, protests in support of Ukraine pouring out into the streets of Czechoslovakia and Germany. Let's listen to this. Watch.
Закинем в метро, и мы кончились, поэтому если сбор денег снова... Есть.
You know, Congressman, NATO now says no to a no-fly zone over Ukraine. How do you stop Russia?
Well, I think the problem is the horse is already out of the barn. You know, the world is a more peaceful place when the U.S. is strong and NATO is united, and we haven't had that. And I think part of that is what led to Putin going into Ukraine right now. But I certainly think a no-fly zone, an enforceable no-fly zone, would be a good thing to help these Ukrainian people. They're all alone right now. And we're not showing a lot of strength, and we're too late to the table getting Ukraine the help that they need. And Zelensky said that a couple of days ago. Help's got to come still, but it may be too late, unfortunately.
You know, to the Congressman's point, Colonel, how do you ignite the world to step up? Should everyone see the graphic, disturbing footage and photos of the carnage so everyone wakes up to how evil Russia is? Remember, after the Vietnam War was a TV war. And then there was a shutdown of those images. Should the U.S. viewers and voters see what's going on?
Well, you know, I think right now I've actually been pretty surprised and impressed that the world has been extraordinarily unified behind the Ukrainians on this war. I mean, it's not just the West, because I know that prior to the launch of this war, there was some concern that there would be disunity among the West in applying pressure and pain on Putin. But it looks like that they went overboard and actually have done quite a bit. So I've actually been impressed with that. But to the Congressman's point there's probably nothing we can do militarily to stop this. And you look, I'm as sympathetic to the plight of the very brave Ukrainians and the way they're standing up to this onslaught.
So how do you stop Russia then, Colonel? Colonel, how do you stop Russia? How do you stop them?
Yeah, well, what we don't do is use a no-fly zone or something like that that could actually bring us into conflict with Russia, because that could expand it beyond the borders and bring us into a war, which would be catastrophic.
Understood, but how do you stop Russia?
You don't. I mean, that's just the reality, the harsh reality. Once this thing got underway, there is nothing short of actually expanding the war and getting involved in it that we can stop it.
So we're just going to give up in the face of this carnage, Congressman?
Well, I guess that's my concern, and I totally respect what my colleague is saying. But when you take military intervention off the table at the very beginning and tell them repeatedly you're not going in, and then you project weakness, which gives them more comfort going in. We weren't unified before I went in, and Putin sensed that too. And so now we have this carnage. So what's going to happen if we see atrocities every day on TV and men, women, and children getting killed brutally? What are we going to do then? We're still going to sit by and do nothing? That's the problem I have with this. I absolutely do not want military conflict, but I think we've got to let them know that there is at some point we're going to say enough's enough here, and it should have never come to this. But at some point we got to say, look, if you keep this up, we're going to keep squeezing as hard as we can. And I think a no-fly zone, in my opinion, would be a good first step.
You know, Colonel, the Secretary of State Blinken said, quote, "We will defend every inch of NATO territory." We know that Ukraine's not in NATO. They're not Article 5. He did say if conflict comes to us, we're ready for it. You know, the U.S. Embassy in Kyiv calls this a war crime. President Biden said, quote, yesterday, it's too early to say if Russia's committing war crimes. You know, the question is why the hesitancy? Because the International Criminal Court is probing war crimes. Horrific images continue to pour out. I mean, Kyiv is now the next Aleppo. Russia helped destroy Aleppo.
Yeah, and that's one of the reasons why I'm so outspoken that the negotiations, as bad as the position of the Ukrainian government is, is probably the best course to prevent Kiev from being turned into Aleppo. Because right now, look, unless we want to expand this war and possibly become a target ourselves, we have to do everything we can to stop it, because Russia can't be stopped inside the country except potentially by negotiations. That's just the hard truth of it.
And, you know, Russia's shutting down its own protests at home. It's bringing in martial law. It's now saying 15 years in prison if Russians speak out against the war. 8,000 already detained. It's shutting down Facebook, the BBC, Voice of America, and more. So your final word, Congressman, on that. Will Russians themselves turn out and say enough is enough?
Well, that remains to be seen, and I don't think it's an accident that Putin is isolated, because I'm sure he doesn't trust some of his higher aides. But in my opinion, we got to do everything we can to try and get the messaging to the Russian people, and hope they can have some influence in this. It's a terrible situation.
Got it. Congressman Katko, Colonel Davis, thank you so much for joining us. It's good to have you both on.